Are you a football fan? Have you ever found yourself wondering what in the world was that ref thinking? Well, Mike D, the referee, is here to help you. Join me on Whistle Talk as I talk to professionals on the field and in the booth to help you understand what's going on inside the mind of a football official. On today's episode of Whistle Talk, I'm joined by Mark Schultz, Illinois high school football official and senior editor at footballzebras.com. Today we'll dive into the fascinating world of scrimmage kicks. We'll explore the mechanics behind the officiating displays and discuss some of the most unusual and memorable moments of the kick game. And as always, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe and leave your comments and reviews. That's coming up next on Whistle Talk. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the next episode of Whistle Talk. Today I got a little bit of a unique guest with me. I've got Mark Schultz. Mark, the reason I'm saying that he's a unique individual is not only is he a football official, high school football official, having worked in Illinois for a number of years, but Mark is also one of the senior editors to one of the best football official resources out there, footballzebras.com. Mark, thank you very much for jumping on with us today. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for inviting me, and I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. So, Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself, about footballzebras.com, and about your officiating career.
All right. Well, footballzebras.com was created by Ben Ostro in, I believe, 2009. He was just interested about NFL rules. And it started to grow a little bit more and a little bit more. And then he asked me to come on board and do some writing about football officiating and NFL officiating. So that's where it's grown since then. So I came on board in 2012, and it really has taken off, and it's been a lot of fun. I am a writer and a journalist. I have that training background. I now work in marketing. So writing stories is a lot of fun, and I get to write stories about one of my favorite topics, officiating, so it's really a lot of fun. I got into officiating. Yep, I got into officiating, if you want to be honest about it, all the way back to age 6.
Wow.
My dad enjoyed watching football, and I was watching football with him. And one day I said, "Dad, what are those guys in the striped shirts doing?" And he explained to me what a referee was. And I thought, well, that is the most interesting thing of what they're doing. So I watched football for many years, and yeah, I'd root for a team that I was excited about, but I would always watch the officials like a hawk. Then at age 17, I got a license and I started officiating for 5 years. Took 9 years off to build a career and get married and start a family. And I thought my officiating career was over with until one day at work, a person came in and said he was a basketball official. And I said, "Oh, I used to be a football referee and I kind of miss it." He said, "Well, you can do it now. Pick it up again." I said, "Well, my job." And he said, "What time do you get off of work?" I said, 5. And he said, "JV games start at 6. Varsity games start at 7. So I picked it up again, and I've been doing it. This will be my 23rd year straight back, 28 overall.
Ah, that's excellent. That's good stuff. And that's actually what you just mentioned is something, a point that I've been trying to highlight throughout the podcast is that with officiating, as opposed to possibly coaching, this is something that we kind of do as a secondary job. So our jobs, if your schedule doesn't allow you to coach because maybe you're not a teacher, or you don't have a flexible schedule that you can be on a field at 2-3 o'clock, the official is a great way to stay involved in the game that we love, because the time frames are a little bit more flexible. They're usually in the evenings or at night. Some of the JV games and freshman games here in Jersey are a little bit earlier. So we do have some concessions with that, and the schools understand that. But most of the time, especially your varsity games, you're looking at a Saturday afternoon or Friday Night Lights. So it's a great way to still stay involved in the sport.
And we've had a couple of coaches leave coaching and take up officiating, and we joke with them saying, "Oh, I bet getting yelled at is a whole lot different than you know than coaching." And they said, "Actually, I got yelled at more as a coach by parents and fans than I have as a referee." So there's something to think about.
Yeah, and it's true with my experience. And for those that are watching it, I just pulled up the Football Zebras website here, and so going back to the website really quick, one of the great things that I love that you guys have here is you have rules, reference sheet, bowl games. The crew assignments is something that I refer to a lot. So I'll go on there and I'll take a look at the different crews that are going to be playing and who's being assigned. And the UFL season just finished up, and you had on there all the different UFL groupings. So I would go in there and watch some of the guests that I've had on the podcast. So it's a great reference. And I know you said pre-production that it's predominantly NFL and college rules, but that's still great for people out there to learn about, because a lot of times at the high school level, people are thinking it's the college rule or it's the NFL rule. So if they can get the grasp of it through this resource, maybe they'll understand that, okay, it is a little bit different on each level. So it's definitely something that even the layperson and the coaches that are out there that may be listening, it's a great resource for you guys and gals to jump on and take a look at. So again, footballzebras.com.
It is a great resource to have for college and NFL rules. And if anybody has a question about what a rule is or why they're ruling it that way in the bowl game or in the NFL, come on our site and take a look, and you'll probably find your answer. Although I have to say, Ben Ostro is the NFL rules expert. He is fantastic. I mean, I think he could probably go in the front office now if he wanted to,
Oh, wow.
but he is an excellent. He breaks down the rules so
Hmm.
well, and when that comes about, I basically say, Ben, that's all you. I have enough time trying to keep the high school rules straight, so you break down the NFL rule, especially when it comes to timing rules, that's the biggest difference between
Yeah.
high school and NFL.
Yep, and in the past couple of years, there have been some minor tweaks at the high school level, and at the NFL level, it's even bigger and bigger changes that have gone on when it comes to stopping the clock, 2 minute drills, different things like that. So definitely a great resource for again, if you're just a casual fan who's listening to our show and you're a casual football fan and you watch a game on Sunday and you're like, why the heck did they do that? It's a great site to go and take a look at. So.
We have a live blog every Sunday where we take interesting calls and interesting situations from all over the NFL and we blog them. So keep Football Zebras open in your tab on Sunday afternoon.
Oh, that's good stuff. I didn't know that. That is excellent stuff. So now the nice thing with Mark is again we're talking about the website, but Mark is also an official, as you mentioned, for uh, close to 30 years now. You had a chance to work a state championship game back in 2022, which is fantastic. Mark is located in Illinois, so he's working the high school games in Illinois. But one of the main reasons, or another one of the reasons why I wanted to have Mark on the show today is we're going to dive into something that us football officials tend to get a little weak in the knees about, kind of scares us a little bit, and that's some kick game stuff today, right, Mark?
That's right. Whenever they kick the ball, weird things can happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're going to dive into a little bit of some scrimmage kick mechanics, and we'll talk about it from a couple different perspectives. So what I have here is I thumbnailed here in the NFHS rule book here. So it is Rule 6-2 scrimmage kicks. And it dives into what exactly a scrimmage kick is. And again, for those people that don't know the difference between our scrimmage kick and a free kick, Mark, would you mind telling our listeners what a scrimmage kick is?
A scrimmage kick is a scoring attempt, a field goal. It is also a punt. Um, so those are the scrimmage kicks that we have. Also, an extra point try is a scrimmage kick. And what you would say, and then there's also what's called a free kick. Basically, anything that looks like a kickoff is called a free kick.
Yep.
But scrimmage kicks are anything else. It's not a kickoff.
Correct. So one thing that was really ingrained into me when I was a cadet, when we started talking about scrimmage kicks, it's just a silly saying that's always been in my head. But a kick is a kick is a kick. And what that trained us to do is that a field goal is in essence a punt that could potentially score. And the reason that that's important is when we start talking about, and here's one of the differences now with NCAA and the NFL, is if that field goal attempt doesn't succeed, where are we spotting the ball?
It's a touchback. We're going to the 20.
Yep.
So if you're snapping the ball from the 10 and you shank the field goal, we're going out to the 20.
Yep.
If you spot the ball at the 45 and you have some future NFL place kicker going to try it and he misses it, we're going to the 20. So in high school, you don't have to drop your beanbag at the spot where the kicker kicks it. If he kicks a field goal attempt, and he misses, you're going to the 20-yard line. It's something simple to remember as far as that goes in high school. And yeah, you might get somebody from the top row in the stands going, "Hey, wait a minute." Nope, it's always the 20.
Yep. Where in the NFL, it's from the spot of the kick. And I actually, is the NCAA from the previous spot or is it from the spot of the kick also?
Boy, they've changed it around a little bit. I think it's the previous spot. I
That's what
don't
I think
think,
too.
yeah, I don't think they dropped the beanbag at the spot of the kick.
Okay. And for my NCAA officials out there that may be listening, please jump on YouTube or jump on and comment and correct us if we're wrong on that one. Again, thick skinned here. We do make mistakes. I am at the high school level. So now, consequently, Mark, we got that same field goal attempt, and you got Legatron as the former NFL guy, or actually, he's probably still in the NFL right now. So they're going for a 47-yard field goal, and the kid completely shanks it, but the ball doesn't cross the end zone, doesn't cross the goal line, I should say. Anything different there?
Just remember that a field goal attempt is a punt, with the exception that if it splits the uprights, you give the kicking team 3 points. Everything else are punting rules. So if the field goal attempt is short and stays out of the end zone, and the receiving team says, "Oh, I'm going to try and return this," and they come in and they muff the ball, and it stays in the field of play, the kicking team can recover it, and they get a new series, 1st and 10. Remember the Leon Lett play?
Oh, yeah.
So you have to remember that. Also, and I don't know if you're ready to get into these rules yet, the end zone is in play here, and this is very different from college and the NFL. Once a field goal scoring attempt, remember these are punt rules, and the ball goes into the end zone, crosses the plane, even if it sails in the air, crosses the goal line, it's dead. There
Yep.
can be no return. There's no kick six in high school football. Remember the famous Auburn play?
Oh,
Can't
yeah.
do that.
And for
Can't
my
do
Alabama
that.
fans out there, I apologize because I do have a number of Alabama fans out there, so they may be twitching that we're talking about that, the old Iron Bowl game.
Oh, yeah. So, but in high school, there's no kick six from the end zone.
Yes.
Can't bring it out from the end zone. No
So,
109-yard
good.
returns. No
Yeah.
109-yard
So,
returns.
so going with that, and the same concept applies. If they're kicking the ball from the 37-yard line, so in essence, it would be ruled a 47-yard field goal if it's successful. If that ball comes up short and it stops and lands at that 1 yard line, that's where the offense is taken over from if it gets downed because that's just a punt now. And a lot of teams now are also going to think, well, why don't we get the ball at the 20? Well, the ball never crossed the end zone. It's a punt. So just like you can coffin corner a punt, they coffin cornered a field goal in essence. So that's where the offense is going to take over. We're going to mark the ball on whatever hash it came to rest at, or wherever it was down, and we're playing football next play from the 1 yard line. So it's an oddity that a lot of people truly don't grasp and understand, but it is something that is part of our rule.
And you know, a very interesting trend is developing, at least where I am. It's still rare, but say a small school doesn't really have a good long snapping game and their punter isn't that good, but they have a place kicker. Say they're on the 50-yard line, 4th and 10. We're in a punting situation. Well, I don't have a good punter and my long snapper is so-so. At least to get the at
15 yards,
least
yeah.
to get the snap back into the punter's hands. They line up in field goal formation.
Yep.
And they know they're not going to make a 60-yard field goal, but that allows them to have their best chance to get a kickoff and get a good kickoff without a shank or a muffed snap or the punter drops the ball or something. So, yes, if you happen to see somebody come out in an obvious punting formation or punting situation and they're in field goal formation, remember, it's their version of a punt because they may not have the personnel, a good snapper and punter on their team.
Yep. Now, consequently, I was a former coach, and I loved the special teams aspect. The one negative that I gotta warn people with, if it's your traditional field goal unit, you may have five offensive linemen out there in that scenario because of protection purposes first. Where in a typical punt situation, your punt situation tends to have more linebackers, defensive backs. So, because once you kick that ball, be it the field goal or the punt, you're now playing defense. So you want to have your best athletes and tacklers out there. So if you've got, and again, number rules come into consideration here. You can have five eligible numbers in ineligible spots if they are in a kick formation. So you want to make sure that you're protecting for that kick, and then you're also protecting for that return too. So you do got to be mindful of that because a lot of people will try that thinking, oh, that's great. And all of a sudden you got five offensive linemen that are out there that aren't used to trying to make those open field tackles. And now you can have that 99-yard punt return in essence for a touchdown.
Like we said, weird things happen on kicks.
Heck yes. So now let's transition from a field goal to a point after because a lot of the general population think that it's the same rules of a point after or an extra point try. People say, oh, they lined up for a field goal, but there are distinct differences, Mark. So can you dive into some of the differences between an extra point and a field goal?
Yes, and this is in high school now. We do not have a blocked extra point try, or if they're going for two, interception or a fumble recovery. The defense cannot run it back for 2 points on an extra point try or a 2 point conversion try. Once on a 2 point conversion try, once the defense secures possession of the ball, it's dead. You're blowing it dead and signaling that the try is no good. Same thing now with the kick. Once the kicker puts his foot into the ball and you hear that thud, it's over. There can be no blocked. I mean, if the defense blocks it back and the kicker picks it up, he can't run it in for two. Also, the defense cannot again pick it up and run it back for a 2 point conversion. So this is something that you have to work out with on a crew of 5, 6, or 7. Who has the whistle on the extra point? Usually, this is the referee who has the whistle on the extra point because he or she can see the foot hit the ball. And once he or she sees the kick is away, they're laying on the whistle, and that's it. So a lot of times for the extra point, the referee blows the whistle. Now, on a field goal try, a lot of times the back judge or the other official underneath the goalpost, usually it's the back judge, blows the whistle once the kick ends. We've got a live ball on a field goal try, until that ball crosses the plane of the goal. The ball is live. The back judge is best to judge that. The referee is the best to judge on an extra point try when the ball is kicked and we blow it dead. But that's something you need to work out with for your crew. And I would very, very highly recommend that before a field goal try, you remind each other, either if it's on radio or some type of crew signal, that the ball is live and the back judge has the whistle on this one.
Yep.
Until it crosses the plane. You don't want the referee to have a brain fade and hit his whistle, forgetting it's an extra point or forgetting it's a field goal and not an extra point try. Work that out with your crew beforehand. Who has the whistle on tries? Who has the whistle on field goals? And remind each other before the snap.
So we have the O to O's here in New Jersey, and it seems like most of the states now have the O to O's, the headsets for, again, the people that don't know what I'm talking about. Plus, we still have our hand signal mechanics. And like you said, we'll give ourselves, we'll say it on the loud, and we'll say, hey, reminder, live ball. Because now there's also a difference if the ball is blocked. Because now we got a block, and say the ball gets blocked, and the holder for K picks the ball up and rolls out and throws the ball to the tight end who's wearing an eligible number, and it happens to be in the end zone. We're going up. We got a touchdown on that scenario. So it's a live ball, and consequently, same thing with the defense. If the defense blocks it, a good special teams coordinator is going to have a block side and then a return side for a field goal. So if they can get the block, depending on how the kicker is, they're looking to block it to a specific area where they have somebody that's waiting to kind of scoop and score that ball and go. And that's 6 points now for the defense. That's a live ball touchdown, not a 2-point conversion, but a live ball touchdown in both those scenarios.
And why is that guy who can scoop and score always faster than me?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, for the referees that are back there, even with the kickers and whatnot, yeah, they tend to be able to go. I think they do that on purpose, Mark.
or they always remain 18, and I get a year older every year. One of the two.
This is also true.
But yeah, this is good. This is good because I've been an umpire for several years. This is my first year as a referee, so I'm reminding myself on many of these things.
Awesome. Good stuff. So now another thing we got to talk about with both these scenarios now, your point after and your field goal attempt, is now we are allowed different numbering systems going on for our scrimmage kick. Okay, and it is the exception to the rule where the offense has to have 5 ineligible numbers on the field unless they're lined up in a scrimmage kick formation: field goal, extra point, punt. And like I mentioned, your long snapper a lot of time could be a skill player. Sometimes he is an offensive lineman, or they're an offensive lineman. Other times they're a skill player who just happens to be able to snap the ball. A lot of times it tends to be the offensive center, whoever that is playing center. But again, sometimes it's a linebacker. Sometimes it's a quarterback. I've seen quarterbacks line up as long snappers, and again, their numbers are going to be different. Now, the reason that this is important is myself as an umpire, our wing guys. If it's a field goal, a lot of teams will bring in offensive linemen to play that tight end. So now you got 7 big guys on the field. Well, they're ineligible by number. At the high school level, we don't have the check-in. And that's extremely important for everybody to understand, that there cannot be a touch play by an ineligible number in either of these scenarios. Have you seen anything like that before, Mark?
Oh, yes. And I have one funny story. Usually you get this at the youth level of football. Every once in a while you get this on JV. If there's an ineligible downfield on a scrimmage kick, somebody yells, "But he reported."
Yes.
And if I say, and if it's a coach that yells that, I say, "We have ineligible downfield, but he reported. That's on Sunday, coach. 5 yards." Okay, yes, and we do have that. A lot of times you have an ineligible on the end line, and sometimes you have an eligible number snapping the ball, but he's ineligible by position. He's covered up. he can't go out for a pass.
Yep.
Here's how we do this mechanically in Illinois. It's probably the same in other states. When they come out for an extra point or a field goal, the two officials underneath look on the end line, see if there's an end and a back,
Yep.
and they yell and they say to them, they say to their partner underneath the upright, they say, "I've got 9 and 44," and the other guy says, "I have 81 and 6." We're saying those are the eligibles who can come out for a pass if there's a fire drill or a
Yep.
blocked kick. So we know who is eligible in our mind who can come out for a pass. If there is say number 10 is snapping the ball, he's eligible by number, but he's covered up. He cannot go out for a pass. Now, there's the swinging gate or the polecat formation. That's a monster that blows my mind trying to
Yep.
figure that, trying to explain that. But if the center is in his traditional position and the linemen are covering him up, he cannot go out for a pass. So I've got 9 and 44. I have 6 and 81. And then we look into the center. If 10 is snapping it, we say 10 is dead. Now that's a very not very nice term to say. Or 10 is ineligible. 10 can't. No 10 or something like that, where we remind ourselves that if we see 10 sneaking down past the 2-yard belt and the pass crosses the line of scrimmage, we have a flag down on 10, ineligible.
Absolutely. And that's something that myself as an umpire, when I'm in the middle of the field, my one of my main focuses on kick game is uh, the safety of the center of that long snapper. So I'm focused in on that long snapper. So I definitely have an idea of their number. And again, traditionally on field goal and extra point, they're going to be surrounded by four ineligible numbers if that center happens to be an eligible number. It's the punt game now, also a scrimmage kick play that can really send things awry. And we had a situation here in New Jersey, I want to say about 6 or 7 years ago, where it was a bobbled snap on a punt now, scrimmage kick, and the kicking team had five eligible players at the five lineman positions. So
Oh
eligible by
boy.
number, but not eligible by position because they were covered up by the two gunners on the punt formation. And you had the fire drill. Punter was scrambling around, and all of a sudden he sees number 44 and he throws him the ball, and number 44 takes off down the field and scores an apparent touchdown. He was a guard. He was ineligible by position,
Ooh.
and it was a mixed crew that we had, and it was a bad optic. They missed that call. It was addressed, but that's one of the things. Now, it was a teaching moment for me now as an umpire when I'm in that punt formation now. And our deep wings are deep. They're not really looking at the ineligibles because they've got other things to focus on, fair catch, muffs, a whole lot of other things with that. I'm calling out all the ineligibles. And it's just something that if I verbalize it myself, it's just a reminder on me. So this is again where a lot of people, yeah, my flag might be laid on a play like that because all of a sudden, if I called out 6, 9, 44, and 18 ineligible, and a couple seconds later, I see 18's now got the ball because of a fire drill. Now I'm dropping that yellow hanky on the ground. So it's something that I
Mm-hmm.
do and I say out loud because for me personally, verbalizing it helps me remember it. Verbalizing it now, it also gets into my wings ears and possibly the deep guy's ears too. That hey, Mike, didn't you call him ineligible? Yes, I did, John, and we'll go from there. So it's the communication aspect that we're helping each other out there too of knowing who's ineligible because in that situation, I think all 11 players that were on the field for K had eligible numbers on, and that's not uncommon.
Yeah, yeah. You again, weird things happen in the kicking game, and yes, a lot of times you think to yourself, well, the umpire, it's not my job to know who's eligible on the ends and the split ends and the gunners. That's not my job to know. Well, if you have funky numbers at the centers, guards, and tackles, congratulations, you're now part of the eligible and ineligible numbers game. And you have to know. You have to, again, and that's a great tip, verbalize those ineligible numbers. And then, 18, and 18 is ineligible. And then you go and see 18. What the heck's he doing with the ball? I said he was ineligible.
Hmm.
You got the flag.
So, and that's just some little things with the kick game because again, there could be some funky plays on the kick game, and um, we're just talking about scrimmage kicks. Our free kick game, which is your kickoff and your onside kicks and things like that, that's a whole nother monster of mechanics and rules that we have to be aware of. And that's going to be a whole nother different podcast episode that I'm going to dive into the free kick game. So we're still sticking now with our scrimmage kicks. So we're in punt formation now, Mark. I'm going to throw a scenario at you. You got a punt formation. K kicks the ball off. R89 goes to try to catch the ball, and the ball goes right through their arms and hits the ground. After hitting the body, hits the ground. And now kicking team number 12 picks the ball up and scoops and scores for a touchdown. What do we got in that scenario?
Congratulations, K-12. You recovered the ball. It's 1st and 10 at the spot of recovery. Sorry, K-12, you do not have a touchdown.
Yep.
And that is the rule from the top down.
Yes.
The kicking team cannot advance a muff. A muff is basically the the kicked ball touches a member of the receiving team, whether they try to kick it and it goes right through their arms, or if a receiving team's down trying to set up a blocking wall and his back is to the ball and the ball touches his heel. It's still a live ball, and K can recover. They cannot advance, but they can recover the ball and get a 1st and 10 at the spot of recovery.
So referring back to our rule book. So going to rule 2, section 27, the definition of a muff. A muff is the touching of a loose ball by a player in an unsuccessful attempt to secure possession. So trying to catch the punt, they were unsuccessfully secured possession, but they hit the ball. That is the definition of a muff, and a muff cannot be returned. Now, K does get the ball, like you said. The kicking team gets the ball, so it's going to be 1st and 10. They're going to start a whole new series, probably with some pretty good field position at that point, but they cannot scoop and score. Now, Mark, same scenario. R88 or whatever number I said, I forget what number. See, this is why I have to verbalize it because I forget the numbers. They do secure the catch. They are returning the ball, and they fumble. Ball gets popped out. Can K scoop and score in that scenario?
Yes, you can, because that is a fumble. You recover the ball, or you get possession of the ball. R88 has it, and now he's running, and then he gets hit and he fumbles the ball. It's just like any other fumble play. So you put a bag down at the spot of the fumble, and if K recovers it, get ready to turn around and go the other way, and they can go to the end zone and they can score a touchdown. Or if they get tackled short of the end zone, 1st and 10 at the spot where the ball becomes dead.
Yep. And unfortunately, this is a scenario where sometimes as officials, we're going to have a little bit of a slower whistle because we have to truly determine, was it a muff or was it a fumble? Did the player truly secure possession of it and then fumble it, or did they muff it? So this is where crew communication is going to come in big time, and having a good camaraderie with your crew and communicating with each other. You might need some help from a short wing on a play that's a muff. And they're going to come out and hopefully they may blow the whistle dead and save the crew from the scenario. So it's little things like that of determining muff or fumble on what's going to go on with the play, because sometimes the kid might scoop and score like we talked about in that muff situation, and we're bringing the ball back.
On the initial contact downfield, it's usually almost all on the back judge. For sure, in a 5-person crew, even in 7-person crew, usually the back judge has the best look at whether that initial touching was a muff or a fumble. And this is where whistle discipline has to come in
Yep.
for the back judge. I don't know if you're going to get into a fair catch or not, but I got burned. I got burned early in my career, less than 5 years of experience. A lot of times, young back judges, when they see somebody wave for a fair catch, we know once the receiver catches the ball, it's dead. You're blowing it dead. You're protecting the receiver.
Yep.
Okay, you know what's going to happen, right, Mike?
Yep. Oh, I do.
Down there, I was watching the receiver. He came in, the ball came in and touched his forearms. He gave a great fair catch signal, exactly how. Ball touched his forearms coming into his arm. Hey, I'm Johnny on the spot. I'm protecting this guy. I'm preventing a 15-yard penalty. Tweet! Blow it dead. And the ball is dribbling down his leg and on the turf, and Kay recovers.
Yep.
If that happens, you got to eat it. You got to own it.
Yes, sir.
The ball started, the whistle, it was a P whistle at the time. It wasn't a Fox 40. The whistle started to warble. Pretty much people heard it, and others on the sideline said, was that a whistle or not? You know, you can't just like tuck it down your shirt and say, I don't know where that came from. What is that? Maybe a soccer team over there is practicing. No. Even at that point, I said, all right, you blew it, you ate it. And I even blew it harder and stopped it. And I said, Coach, I blew an inadvertent whistle. I made a mistake. And the coach was not happy, of course, but we went back and it was a loose ball play. I believe we replayed the down. Mm-hmm. And again, jogging off the field at the end of the game, I said, Coach, again, I'm sorry about the inadvertent whistle. He said, you owned up to it, and I respect that.
Yeah, and 99% of the coaches are going to do that. And I have talked about that exact scenario. We had it on a kickoff, that exact scenario that happened, and we had to re-kick it. And my white hat and myself, being the umpire, we went up to the coach and we're like, Coach, that's on us. We blew that one. We screwed that one up. We have to replay the play, or else you can go with the how the play ended, which I'm assuming you're not going to want, because in that one, the other team, consequently, they weren't happy either, but they're like, all right, let's move on. And rest of the game, we had a fantastic game. But owning up to it, and it's a mistake. And the whistle discipline is huge. The play kills itself. It is a big term that we use a lot. The play kills itself. So in high school, a knee touching the ground, even if we're a little bit delayed on the whistle, that knee hitting the ground, play kills itself. So you can have a late hit penalty when the play is over, even though the whistle hasn't blown yet. So understanding when to blow that whistle, and again, hopefully you're not sitting there just completely swallowing the whistle and not doing anything, but plays kill themselves, not the whistle. So for coaches, for players to truly understand that, yeah, we want to teach the kids play whistle to whistle. Well, A, there's usually not a whistle to start the play anymore. And B, the whistle to end the play is after the play is over. It's not ending the play, but it's after the play. The only time the whistle is really going to end the play is when you got a forward progress type of scenario where, all right, we're going to kill the play at that point in time for player safety. We don't need everybody still driving into each other. So great point about the whistle discipline right there.
And a well-coached special teams kicking team knows to look for the receiver and to see if he's waving a fair catch. And if you hold the whistle for a second, you know, like a half a second, and you start to okay, he's got the ball, I'm going to blow it dead, tweet, bam, he gets hit, and they say, oh, I didn't hear the whistle. Again, you did your job right, and a well-coached gunner knows, I see a fair catch, I'm laying off this thing.
Yes. Yep. All right, Mark. So I've got one last question for you that I know at the high school level is different than all the other levels. You got that kid who waves his hand for that fair catch. Again, this can be on any type of kick play. And you now have Kay running downfield, and they get a guy that comes right in the kid's face and stops. Doesn't hit him, doesn't touch him, doesn't do anything, doesn't even say anything, doesn't say boo to the returner. What do you got?
If the receiver didn't have to move around him, didn't have to move through him to catch the ball, I got nothing.
Yep.
In high school, I got nothing. There is no halo rule in high
That's
school.
that's exactly where I was leading you to. There is no halo rule in high school, which I gotta say is one of those nuanced rules for player safety that at the high school level we talk about. I think there should be. I think there should be something to protect that player and give them a little spot because we're the only level that doesn't have that halo rule. And personally, again, this goes back to uh, grounding the ball. We changed the rule to ground the ball now that grounding is allowed with certain criteria, just like the college and NFL game. But there's still certain criteria, and that's for quarterback safety. Where 4 or 5 years ago, quarterback was going to get blasted because they were holding on to the ball because they couldn't just get rid of the ball. Well, same thing now here. There is no halo rule in high school. So if you don't have kick catching interference, which you brought up perfectly, that the receiver did not have to go through, go around, there was no interference. He allowed that catch to be made. You got nothing. And it's something that a lot of coaches are sitting there screaming at. And again, mom, dad, and the peanut gallery upstairs in the booth and in the stands, they're screaming at you. Oh, where's the halo rule? That's 15, and no, it's not.
No, it's not. I think in some ways, maybe NFHS wants to be merciful and give the back judges a break because the halo rule is a judgment call.
Yeah,
And like, well, is it three? Is it three? Was that 3 steps or 2.5? Was that 3 yards or 2.5? You know, but in NFHS, it's much less of a judgment call
yeah.
to make. Maybe NFHS says we'll give our back judges a break and not have to have them make that tight judgment call. But we got good back judges; they could make the call.
I agree with you, but yeah, it is again something now more on the plate. But again, to reiterate it, there's no halo rule in high school, so forget about it. Forget about it, coaches. It doesn't happen. It doesn't exist in our level. NCAA, NFL, absolutely. All right, Mark. Well, once again, I truly, truly appreciate you coming on our show. I just threw on our screen there the link there for footballzebras.com. Ladies and gentlemen, go on, take a look at it. Message Mark, Ben, he mentioned before. Um, it's a great site. Also, little self plug here. If you want to buy me a beer, here's the link to the buy me a beer link. If you like what you're hearing, please at least hit the like button on your Spotify, on your Apple, whatever it is that you're listening to, on YouTube. Please go out there, hit the like. Give me a review. If it's a 5-star review, I love it. If it's a 4-star review, shoot me an email, MikeDThereferee@gmail.com, and I'll talk it over with you on how I can get better with this. But again, we're looking to try to build the game. We're looking to try to enjoy the game and make the game better for everybody involved, parents, fans, players, coaches. Mark, once again, truly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to jump on here. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. And for anybody who's thinking about becoming a referee, remember the saying: without officials, it's only recess. Also, the referees are the third team on the field. Our team always wins every game.
This is true. This is true. Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, check out those sites. Check out my site. Check out Mark's site, and enjoy the game. We're right around the corner with football season, so looking forward to it. Thank you, sir.
If you're enjoying today's show and you want to show your appreciation to Mike D, you can buy him a beer by clicking on the link in the show notes or go to buymeacoffee.com/Mike D the referee. And as always, make sure to click follow and give 5 stars. Thanks for listening. Cheers.